All right, so get ready to delve into some seriously spooky Victorian literature today because we're diving into Mary Elizabeth Braddon's Cold Embrace.
Ooh, Cold Embrace. Now that's a story that will chill you to the bone.
It really will. And it showcases Braddon's talent for weaving together a Gothic romance with those psychological thrills she was so good at.
She was a master of sensation, that's for sure.
Absolutely, and Cold Embrace is a prime example.
Mm.
But before we get into the nitty gritty, let's give everyone a little background on Braddon herself. She was a bit of a rock star in Victorian literature, known for these scandalous and suspenseful novels that everyone devoured.
Oh, absolutely. She knew how to grab a reader's attention from page one and keep them hooked until the very end.
Okay, so let's jump into Cold Embrace. Where should we start? Oh, I know. The protagonist. From
Yes, Franz. The young, handsome artist. But there's something about him, a certain coldness that Braddon reveals right away in the very first line.
You're so right. It's like she's giving us a warning right from the start, saying, "Watch out for this guy. He's trouble."
It's true, she writes. He was young, handsome, studious, enthusiastic, metaphysical, reckless, unbelieving, heartless.
Wow, talk about a loaded description.
Yeah.
She doesn't hold back, does she? It's like she's painting a target on his back. So you've got this brooding, ambitious artist, and then we meet Gertrude.
His cousin and his fiancée, their love story unfolds with all the classic elements of Gothic literature, stolen glances under the moonlight, secret rendezvous. But underneath this passionate exterior, there's a sense of impending doom, a feeling that their forbidden love is heading towards a tragic end.
It's that classic forbidden love trope, and it always leads to heartache.
Right, and that's where the serpent ring comes in.
Oh, yes, the serpent ring.
Such a potent symbol in the story. It's a golden serpent biting its own tail, representing eternity. And it's during one of their secret meetings that Franz gives Gertrude this ring, vowing to love her even beyond the grave. My soul would come back to be near my love, he tells her. Little does he know how those words will come back to haunt him.
Talk about foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Okay, so Franz, blinded by his artistic ambitions, he heads off to Florence for this prestigious commission, leaving Gertrude behind.
And their once passionate correspondence dwindles to nothing.
Poor Gertrude. You can practically feel her heart breaking with every unanswered letter. And all of this while she's being pressured to marry this wealthy suitor her father has chosen for her. It's like Braddon wants us to feel the weight of Gertrude's despair.
Absolutely. And she even writes, the date seems burned into her brain.
June 15th, her wedding day. This day becomes a ticking time bomb.
And to make matters worse, she'd had that unsettling conversation with Franz earlier, the one about death. She said that those who die at peace find heaven, but those who take their own lives, their souls are left to wander the earth, forever shut out from paradise.
It's heartbreaking.
What?
She's trapped. Meanwhile, Franz finally decides to return from Florence.
But not for Gertrude.
No, he's completely indifferent to her plight, more worried about catching the next train out of Brunswick.
Talk about cold-hearted. It's like he's forgotten all about her. And this is where his detachment becomes truly chilling. He's strolling along the riverbank, sketching, when he comes across these fishermen carrying a drowned body.
A normal person would be horrified, but Franz,
He sees a subject for his art. He actually pays the fisherman to let him uncover the corpse's face himself.
oh, that's beyond creepy. It's like something straight out of a nightmare.
Braddon writes, no, he says, he will do it himself.
The chills are running down my spine.
And get this, Franz, expecting to sketch a stranger, pulls back the shroud and finds himself staring into the lifeless eyes of Gertrude.
Oh my gosh, that's horrifying. It's like something straight out of a Greek tragedy or something.
It's truly a masterclass in suspense. Braddon doesn't shy away from those Gothic elements, but she uses them so effectively to expose the dark side of Franz's character. He's not just indifferent to Gertrude's fate, he's practically heartless, seeing a drowned woman as nothing more than an artistic opportunity.
It's like he's incapable of genuine human emotion at this point. And to top it off, it's the serpent ring, the symbol of their supposed eternal love that confirms her identity. You'd think that would awaken some remorse in him, right?
You'd think so, but no, instead of facing the consequences of his actions, he chooses to run to escape the crushing weight of his guilt.
He bolts out of there like a bat out of hell. And that escape, that desperate flight from his conscience, it becomes the central theme throughout the rest of the story, doesn't it?
Exactly. He tries to bury himself in his work, to lose himself in the crowds of new cities, even seeking solace in the arms of other women. But it's no use. Gertrude, or rather the specter of his guilt, is always there lurking in the shadows.
This is where Cold Embrace takes on this truly chilling psychological dimension. Braddon doesn't explicitly say whether Gertrude's ghost is real or simply a figment of Franz's guilty conscience. And that's what makes it so effective. It's up to the reader to decide.
It's brilliant, really. She leaves us questioning our own sanity as we delve deeper into Franz's increasingly tormented mind. And the haunting itself, it starts subtly, almost imperceptibly.
Like a cold whisper on the back of his neck, or the feeling of unseen eyes watching him.
Precisely. And as the story unfolds, these sensations intensify, becoming impossible to ignore. They gnaw at his sanity, chipping away at his composure until he's left a nervous wreck.
It's as if his guilt has taken on a physical form, a constant reminder of the terrible wrong he's committed. He can run, but he can't hide.
And run he does. He tries everything to escape the haunting presence that torments him. He drinks himself into a stupor, hoping to drown out the ghostly whispers that plague his every waking moment.
He surrounds himself with people thinking their presence will ward off the chilling touch that seeks him out in moments of solitude. But even in a crowded room, he can't escape the feeling that he's being watched, that Gertrude's vengeful spirit is closing in.
He even tries to lose himself in the vibrant chaos of the Paris carnival, immersing himself in the swirling crowds, the intoxicating music, the dizzying spectacle of it all. It's almost as if he's trying to outrun his past by surrendering to the present moment.
The carnival becomes this symbol of his desperate attempt to escape the consequences of his actions. The irony is almost too much to bear. It's a whirlwind of sensory overload, yet Franz remains utterly alone in his torment.
And that's the tragedy of Franz's character, isn't it? He's so consumed by fear and guilt that he's incapable of experiencing genuine joy, even amidst the most joyous of celebrations. His soul is already tethered to Gertrude's in that macabre dance of death.
He's a prisoner of his own making, and as the carnival winds down, the masks are removed, the revelers return to their lives, and Franz is left to face the chilling reality of his situation.
He seeks refuge in the Grand Opera House, its velvet seats now empty, its stage silent. It's a place of art, a place where fantasy and reality collide, but even here he cannot find sanctuary.
He's trapped by his own guilt and the ghostly presence of Gertrude.
It's as if the final curtain is falling on Franz's life.
And the grand stage of the opera house becomes his final resting place.
The setting for one last chilling dance with his spectral pursuer.
He thrashes, he cries out desperate to break free from that icy grip.
But it's no use. Gertrude has him in her grasp, and she won't let go.
And that's how Braddon leaves us, with this haunting image of Franz, lifeless in that empty opera house, forever entwined with Gertrude.
It's an image that stays with you long after you've finished the story, unsettling in its ambiguity.
It really does make you think. Was it Gertrude's vengeful spirit that drove Franz to madness? Or was it his own guilt eating away at him until there was nothing left?
That's the question Braddon wants us to ponder. Is there ever any escaping the consequences of our actions?
It's a question that goes beyond the pages of Cold Embrace, don't you think? It makes you wonder about the weight of our choices, the shadows we carry with us, and whether we can ever truly outrun our pasts.
It's a chilling thought that we might be haunted not only by our deeds, but by our inability to confront them.
Cold Embrace is more than just a ghost story. It's a stark reminder that sometimes the most terrifying monsters are the ones we create within ourselves.
And that sometimes the price of freedom is facing our demons head on.
Well, folks, it looks like we've reached the end of another deep dive. I hope you enjoyed exploring the dark side of Victorian romance with us today.
Until next time, keep those lanterns lit and those shadows at bay.
And remember, sometimes the most unsettling truths are the ones we find reflected in the mirror.